Getting a few people need tech help. We got a couple of minutes to go. I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to actually mute all of us. And as we roll into 7, Ming can unmute himself and start us off.
Hello, everybody. It is Monday evening at 7 o'clock, and this is the last of our 3 rehearsal series on Tippett's A Child of Our Time. And already it's led to a lot of fantastic moments last week and the week before that, of course. And I think we'll all still remember, of course, Brandy Sutton and her performance singing for us through Zoom, and as I was mentioning, just sort of transcending the medium. And we're lucky to have her back this week, and she's going to be working on some vocal technique with us. And of course, we have Paul and Julia here with us again. But as we give a little bit more time for people to come in, we just want to note that our goal is actually to have a memento coming out of this. And as I mentioned last week, we're going to be doing one of those stitched together performances where we have, you individually record your part for Tippett Steal Away, and then we have a sound engineer that's going to be working on it. Is there some sound? I see some people can't hear, but other people can. Maybe I'll just try to speak more. Actually, hold on a second. Let me try to change the preferences to.
Maybe Ming in the audio settings increase the gain a bit on the mic.
Yeah, this might be better. I turned it on quite a bit higher.
Great.
But
Thank you.
I was saying our goal is to have a stitched together performance of this that we can keep as memento. And I'm really excited to say that Brandy Sutton is going to be our soprano soloist for the few bars that are there. She's agreed to sing it, so we have a memory of these times as well. But as I mentioned, for me, the fact that life still continues on. I see on my Facebook feed people getting married, people passing away, people having babies, and this is not just a holding period, but this is a time where things happen. And these moments during these sessions that I'm never going to forget, that I don't want to forget, I think having some sort of a memento where we all participate in it, I think will be very special. And again, there's no pressure, and there's no need to make this, get really worked up about making the most perfect recording or whatnot, because that's what the sound engineer's job is to do, and so is to make it all work. And so it's just more of a personal memento for all of us and for these times. And so I'm going to hand it over to Julia to lead us through the warm up and get started. And then after that, we're going to have Ms. Brandy Sutton join us for some vocal technique. And then, of course, go into some sectional work on these two spirituals. But then after that, sing through it together before we round out the evening. So, Julia, I'm going to pass it on to you.
Okay, thank you, Ming, and hello, good evening, happy Monday, everybody. Let's start the warm-up standing, so let's all stand. And before we do anything, always make sure that you are grounded in your feet. I'm not going to adjust the camera because we're going to bend over in just 1 second, but make sure that your feet are about underneath your hips. So you want them to be hip width apart. Make sure that you're nice and grounded. Your knees have some buoyancy in them. And just go ahead and put your hands on your hips and just slowly bend over all the way until you can just relax your back and relax your neck and everything. I'm just turning up so I can make sure that you can hear me, but you should just be completely relaxed. Your back and your neck and your arms, actually go ahead and release your arms and let them fall towards the floor. Let gravity take over. And hopefully gravity is pulling some muscles for you. Go ahead and shake your head yes, up and down as you're still leaning over. And shake your head no, just to release some tension in your neck. Keep your knees buoyant, careful not to lock them. And now go ahead and take your right hand and hold your left elbow. Same thing, take your left hand and hold your right elbow. So they should be kind of clasping, your hand should be clasping your elbows. And relax and take some nice deep breaths and feel some expansion in your back. And just experience that. Just kind of see if you can just get rid of all your tension and feel your breath expanding into your back. Nice, slow, deep breaths. Still buoyant in your knees. We don't want them locked. And now actually go ahead and look down at your arms. You might have one arm that's on top of the other, kind of crossed. Now cross them so that the other arm is on top. You're still clasping your elbows. And let your arms swing, let your neck just be completely free. And very slowly, this should take like 30 seconds. Roll up very, very, very slowly. The point is not to get to the top, but to experience your entire spine just stacking itself back up and realigning. So very slowly, go ahead and roll back up. Still feeling that balance in your feet and your core muscles starting to re-engage to balance everything. And if you have long hair like me, you might look like Cousin It. And go ahead, once you're kind of at the top now, if you're nice and at regular posture again, go ahead and we're going to actually I learned this from Ragnar Bolin when I took a class that actually quite a few of us were at a couple weeks ago. So we're going to take our hand like this and place it right underneath our collarbone and pull that kind of skin down and stretch your neck the opposite direction. And it should give you a nice, really good stretch right here to release some tension. And then on the other side, so once again, we're just kind of pulling down the skin right at the collarbone and then stretching your neck, your head in the opposite direction. So you get a nice, good collarbone and neck stretch here. And then finally, we will go ahead and relax your arms to your side and roll your shoulders back and forward and every which way, whatever your shoulders need right now, back or forward or both ways. And then just kind of shake it all out. And now find that good posture once more. And we're going to inhale very slowly to find that space that you need to breathe when you sing. So go ahead, if you need to, place a hand on your belly, a hand on your side, and just kind of focus on breathing into that space on your own time, but make sure it's a nice deep inhale, very nice slow exhale. Just kind of reacquaint yourself with how singing breathing is different than speaking breathing. So go ahead, breathe in and find that space. And then breathe out. Another nice deep breath in. And then exhale again. One last time, breathe in. And then out. Great, okay, so now we're going to inhale on one beat and exhale on an S, continued hiss over 4 beats. Then on the next inhale, we'll exhale for 8 beats, and then for 12 beats. So after each inhale, we're going to increase the time by 4 beats. So here we go. Breathe in with me on the upbeat. I'll give you out and breathe, okay? Out. Off. In, out for 8. Out. In, out for 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and 12. Great. Out. Another deep breath in. Out for 16. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Out. This time, pulse 20. Feel that engagement. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Great, and relax. And now we're going to pant like a dog. So just do this with me. It might feel very strange, but great. So hopefully you could feel that engagement in your core muscles. So those are some of the muscles that you want to use when we use our consonants. So we'll go through those right now. Repeat after me. I'll repeat each consonant 4 times, and then it'll give you a chance to do it 4 times, and then I'll give you the next one. So here we go. Last one. Great, excellent. Okay, and if you are standing, go ahead and stay standing. If you are seated, make sure that you have nice, good posture still, even though you are sitting. And we'll go ahead and sing now. So we'll start with some lip trills, and we'll go. Just going to pause this to remind us that we want to slide all the way up and down. So we don't want to hear. Try not to hit that top note, but glide into it and out of it. Get all of the notes in between. Ready, and go. Last one. Great. And now, with an NG, so we're taking the back of our tongue and our soft palate, and they'll come together for an So just do this with me. On an NG. So that's bass. Hopefully with that kind of siren sound, you felt a very forward, buzzy sensation. So the point of this is not to be loud, but to find that soft kind of focus space. So we'll sing. Ready, and. Just relax your jaw. Last one. Okay, so now same pattern, but this time we're going to open up to a vowel and we'll sing stee. 1, one moment while I look at the... okay, so my voice is apparently faint when I talk, but strong when I sing. I will see what I can do to speak louder in between. Okay, so next we're going to open up to a vowel, so we'll sing stee on a nice E vowel. But make sure to start it off with a nice long stee, as if we were to sing steal away. Use that S to really get your breath going and keep that breath engagement the entire way through. So we don't want stee, stee. Start the breath with the S and stay on it. Okay, ready, and stee, stee. I'm going to pause this for just 1 second. Careful that we're not spreading our E too much so that it's not stee, but you can kind of round the corners of your lips a little. Stee! So bring the corners of your lips in, even though we're singing E. Same spot. Ready, and stee! 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 Last one. Stee! Great, okay. And now we will sing Z-O. So with this, we want to make sure that the E kind of helps us place our voice with a nice forward resonance, but when we open up to the ah, see if you can still keep that kind of forward placement and ping and shoot it out into the audience or whoever you're singing for, into your computer. Okay, ready, and Z-O. Last one. Okay, and one last exercise. We'll sing ready, and last one. Great. Okay, hopefully you should feel warmed up. At this time, before we hand it over to our special guest, Brandy Sutton, we have a very short special surprise for you. So, quite a while ago, we started a virtual project where we all submitted recordings for the Ave Verum Corpus at the very end of our official season, back at the beginning of June and the end of May. And I know I haven't given you many updates on this as I've been working on it, but as an amateur video and audio engineer, I've had to kind of restart the process a couple of times over because there were mistakes that I made that were kind of fatal to the project. But I've learned a lot, and it's been so much fun working and listening to, hearing your voices and working with your voices over the past couple of months. The project is not 100% complete, but at this point, I do have an audio track of everyone's voices together that I would like to share with you tonight. The audio has a piano MIDI file, so it's not the final piano. I just wanted to put a track underneath so that you can hear what the final context sounds like. But the choral, the vocals, it's all you, and it's beautiful, and I'm really excited to share it with you. And we're sharing it with you tonight in its kind of unfinal form, also without the video, with the hoping that maybe like hearing this final product will kind of inspire us to submit to this next project, to submit to Steal Away. And I hope that after hearing the recording that you will feel motivated and inspired and find this to be a meaningful memento from, as Ming said, from like the end of our last season, and then also hopefully that you will want to be a part of the memento that we'll have from our summer series as well. So without further ado, I believe that Christian has the track all queued up and ready to go, and I'm so excited to share with you. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed listening. What I find so wonderful about working on a project for you all is that it's so clear that it's all your voices and it's your character. It's BCCO sound, and I hope that as you listen to that, you could hear yourself or your friends, or just you can hear who BCCO is, and even in this very new and strange medium for us. And I hope that that was meaningful to you to hear, and I hope that you're interested maybe in participating and submitting to further projects as we continue through this very strange time that we're living through. So.
Thank you so much. Julia threw herself into this project, and it's a huge project. I can't believe how many hours she put into it. Because every little bit of these recordings actually needs to be adjusted. If one person has the slightest consonant in front of the other, moving consonants so they're all really, really aligned, or ensuring that the videos start at the same time, the audio soundtracks sound at the same time. There's amazing, amazing amount of work that goes into this. And as always, our goal with BCCO is, every single voice matters. And when every single voice participates and has a voice, then things like this can happen. So again, the recording for the Tippett Steal Away isn't to be some sort of pressurized thing, but it's going to be something I think that we're going to look back with a lot of fond memories. So Julia, thank you so much. That's amazing. She sent me an email earlier in the week, and she's just like, I just had to share this. This was so, I got it, I had tears when I heard it for the first time all together. And, it's a really, really special moment, I think, again, that all of us can really participate in something that is together, even though we're not physically together. So I am really excited, of course, to welcome back Brandy Sutton. And we had such a wonderful time with her 2 weeks ago. And when we ask people to do vocal clinics, it's very special because, like, we always talk about, in your voice, it's not like other instruments where you can actually see physically what's going on and make adjustments. For voice, we always oftentimes have to resort to metaphor or certain techniques or whatnot. And so oftentimes, while the concepts may be very similar, hearing from different points of views are really, really important and special. So I'm going to pass it over to Brandy, and welcome back, Brandy.
Thank you so much. It's so good to see everyone. Well, kind of see everyone. I'm on my phone, so I can't see all the faces this time that I could on the computer, but it's still good to be back with everyone, and I'm super excited to do the Steal Away project, so yay. That Ave Verum was so beautiful. It reminded me of college days because I was an now Oakwood University Aeolian. And we sang that in school. So, oh my God, it was one of my favorites. So that was really awesome to hear. I was sitting here thinking, I don't even know what to say. Julia has said it all. She has given you guys great vocal technique. Anything that I was thinking about saying, she's already touched on. So that is great. It's good to know that you guys are already as advanced as you are, and that you have people like her and Ming leading you all down the right path. So awesome job. For me, and I will really speak to my experience since you all are a choral group. Being an Aeolian, the Aeolians, which I'm not sure if many of you are familiar with, are a choir that has won the World Choir Games a couple times. They're an amazing choir. The conductor I had was Dr. Lloyd Mallory, who taught me to be a performer. And the conductor they have now is Jason Ferdinand, who studied under Dr. Mallory, and Dr. Mallory, who studied under Dr. Nathan Carter. And Dr. Carter is known for his amazing conducting, and he has also written several choral pieces that are pretty popular within the church. It Pays to Serve Jesus. I think he's done Oh for Faith, Someday, Great is Thy Faithfulness. It's a lot of big name, intense choral arrangements where the sopranos, I know It Pays to Serve Jesus, we used to get so angry if we had to sing that at the end of a concert because the sopranos are sitting on high A's and high C's at the end of that song. It's just A after A after A after A to end on a C sharp and come back down and then end the whole song on a high, go back up to the C sharp. So this is the type of singing that we'd have to do for concerts. And you really had to develop a special technique in order to be able to get through a tour of singing. I don't know, maybe, I know one time we did 13 concerts in 10 days. So in order to be able to keep that type of stamina, you do have to know vocally what is going on with you. Everybody is different, so you know your limits. And you always try to, oh, somebody saw Aeolians. Awesome. Yeah, they're amazing. So for me, when I was in Aeolian, what was very important was diction. We'd have to over enunciate. I remember one line, there's a Mac Wilberg arrangement of Love Divine, All Love's Excelling. It's one of my favorite choral pieces. And I remember it's a line that says, pray and praise without ceasing. And we literally were told to write in our scores, pray ye and praise. And so every time we sang it, because when a group comes together, it doesn't sound like pray and praise thee. As a soloist, you can hear it better than an entire group. And we'd have to literally sing, pray and praise thee without ceasing. So that way the audience catches every word, especially in that piece, because the words are so important. And sometimes for me, that can take a lot of my air. Being very, very, I can't think of the word. Where are the words, Lord? My vocabulary today. Intentional about clear diction, clear, precise, and strong diction. When breathing, and like Julia was saying, the expansion that has to happen the entire body around, almost like blowing up like a balloon. It's a very natural thing. I don't like to touch on it too much, because I feel like breathing is something that is because it is so natural, when you overthink it, it can handicap you. So you don't want to think about it too much. What I do tell people to help you get a low breath for singing is to blow out all of your air. So I will do, like I'm blowing through a straw, blow out all of my air until I cannot anymore. So everybody can just try that if you like. And after you blow out all of your air, once it's all gone, you feel like you're about to die, just open your mouth. Your body is created to do all of these things on its own, most without you telling it. So if you blow out all of your air and you just open your mouth, I don't know if you feel it, but the lungs act like a vacuum because they need the air. They're going to take in that air. And for me, sometimes I think about taking in a breath to hold my breath, and as if I'm going to hold it underwater and still try to talk over that held breath. I don't know by what magic this works for me, because most people are like, no, you can't hold your air. But that's how I hold notes for very long, especially if I know I have a long line coming up and I need diction to be, on point. So for me, I'm like almost like but I can still talk to you while I'm holding air. It's not as efficient, but in a choral setting, it can work because we're all working together. I know my choir director used to have us hold hands when we would sing together so that we could feel the energy of each other, of the person next to us. And sometimes, and my favorite position that we would stand in would be SATB, because we could stand in our sections. He had us in our sections for rehearsals and things like that. But we did what we would call roll call, and everybody had to know their note, because he'll call one person from each section to sing through the piece. And if you didn't know your part, everybody knew you didn't know your part. But he would have us stand in quartets and performances. So that way you had to know your part and you could listen to everyone around you. So you were aware of the harmonies, you were aware of the energy that was around you, when the person next to you was going to breathe. So you could think about when you're going to breathe. And all of that comes with knowing your music to the T, like the back of your hand. Because we did concerts, you know, obviously without scores, but there were things we did have to use scores for, but we still had to rehearse them. So also dynamics and colors and choral singing is so important for me. One thing that the Aeolians now are very famous for is these tight harmonies. When they create this sound, and I'm thinking about you all's recording as well that I just heard. First of all, the sound is already beautiful for a group such as yourself. And when you are thinking of singing, like I said before in the last session that I came with you all on, it's feeling. It's knowing what you're singing about and letting that emotion, for me, do the work for you. Yes, there is a lot to think about. You have to breathe. You have to make sure your tongue isn't in the back of your throat. Something that helps, a little trick for me, my voice teacher, Gerald Martin Moore, told me that a good thing to do is to do like a K, like a K sound. And do you feel the tongue kind of spread up to the top molars up here and get out of the way of the back of the throat? So it stays loose. Because for me, my tongue loves to go right on that. So every now and then I just check it, because it's easy to, especially for me as a soprano, if I have to get down to my lower register and I like to, and that tongue. So it's different, you know. For me, it really helps. And also when I'm doing any descending scales, I like to think going up, because we will dig into a low note and it gets lost. It's muddy, it's not clear, or it's too quiet. And if you want to stay on top of the breath at all times, just like what Julia was saying with the steal away. The S is a good, because it's one of the fricative consonants, so it's a good way to the air out. Also, the dog panting, I love that exercise. It is gold. I usually do it with a f or a s, and I know I'm giving you all a lot of information quickly and running through it, so I hope you're getting it. If anybody wants to raise their hand, please do. But those exercises are really good for breath and for sustaining breath. What I like to do is a slow count of 8, and then a fast count where it's double time. So I'll do like a and you'll feel your diaphragm. It's almost like yelling across the street. If you want to yell across the street and get someone's attention, you're not going to say, hey. You're going to say, hey. If you're trying to stop, if you see a car is coming about to hit somebody, hey. That type of feeling is the type of support you need, because all of this is expanding. This is engaging. The diaphragm is engaging. And the lungs are expanding, that support is kicking in, which I've been told it's in down low in the bikini muscles. Now, for me, what helps to find that is when you lean on the piano. Of course, you can't do that when you're in a performance, but I like to just lean maybe at like a 45-degree angle, and do some warm-ups in that position, just to kind of get a feel, because it's muscle memory as well when you practice all of these things, just to kind of get a feel for what is happening, so you can memorize it. That way you can stand up and still feel that the same support. Again, I would say in that position, blow out all of your air and feel where that breath goes, and sing a note, please. Even a scale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I usually like to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 1 up to 8 and back down to the octave and come back down. Because sometimes if I start up high and come down, I hit on it too hard. So for me, I like to gradually move into it and come back down, especially if it's like the first exercise I'm doing to start warming up. And then I'll start going into so I keep the open throat and the what word do I want to use? Because the weight of the top note into the bottom. Because sometimes when you take the weight of the bottom note into the top can be screechy, it can be constricted, it won't feel free. So I do like to come from the top versus so it's the same feeling top to bottom, matching the weight and the colors in the bottom and the top. So like the diction, rhythms, and I know that your conductor, who is amazing, will definitely tell you all of your cutoffs. It's so important to be together. That really defines a really good choir. When I listen for good choral singing, I'm listening for cutoffs. Are the consonants together? Are there cutoffs together? Is there energy together? Is the person on this end gelling with the person on that end? Or are they just in their own world? Because I've seen people in their own world in choral groups. And and I mean, listen, and most of the time I love it, because I love to see a person so passionate about what they're doing and singing and using their instrument. But I guess sometimes it may not always be beneficial to the rest of the group, because everybody has to gel. So all of those colors, round your vowels. Instead of a E, it's just like Julia was saying, you can do those corners, E, E. Something that also helps, the tongue, the difference in E, ah, it's another exercise you can practice. I had a voice teacher tell me there's not much difference with the tongue. It's raised for the E, it's like this in your mouth for the E, and it's flat for the ah. So it's not much you have to do with your mouth to change position, to change the vowel. So that will keep you from having to do E, ah, E, ah, E, ah. And that will help to loosen the tongue too. What I like to do, and some people, I've had a teacher tell me, she said, I'll cover my mouth when I do it because it's not very becoming. But tongue stretches. I stretch down, I stretch up and to the side. And I may hold it on one side for a few seconds, hold it up to the side and down for each for like maybe 5 to 10 seconds or however long you think you need to do. And if you need to gradually work up to hold longer, you could do that as well. And the funny thing is, when I first started doing them, I was like, this isn't doing anything, until I was able to shoot out high E flats because my tongue was out of the way. So I said, okay, the tongue stretching is really working. So it's, again, with the getting it out of the way, E, ah, E, ah, E, ah, keeping this round. And it's kind of like an inside smile too. I don't know if you could probably see my inside smile. And when you breathe into your vowel or into your first note, whatever vowel you sing first, sometimes I breathe into that. If I'm getting ready to sing O for faith, I'll breathe into an O position with my mouth. Oh, so my mouth knows, or my throat knows what's getting ready to happen because my mouth has prepared it. Or if I need to breathe into an ah. Right, exactly. COVID mask smile. I'm always deciding, should I smile? They can't see it. But yes, because they can see this lift. So, ah. Oh, and you can breathe into that vowel. For me, it's like, that was magic when I finally figured that out. But breathing into your vowels, and I'm just going. Do I have a time limit, Ming? Anything specific you want me to touch on? Because I'm just giving you
No,
what I got.
no, it's great because it's this fantastic combination of some of the stories, some of the technical things, and I think, like I was mentioning, it's like, we hear these things. The concepts are very similar, but I think the way we were it's been approached to us either in our own exploration of it or through our teachers is often very different in terms of how they approach it. One thing that we don't talk about as much that you did actually mention was sort of that idea of weight and the evenness up and down the range. Do you feel, like, how do you approach that as you go through that middle register towards the upper register and whatnot? Like, how do you feel like a technical change as to try to achieve that sort of evenness?
I do, only because I still have not learned to trust it. You trust that the voice is going out, because what I find that the lighter it is to me, the more out there it is, the further back it's going to go. I know people, sometimes when you try to sing too big and you put all of that weight on a sound, it doesn't go past the third row. Whereas you think it's light because it sounds light to you because it's not on the inside. It's going off the body into the house. So you have to trust it. I think that's been the biggest thing for me. So I shouldn't feel a technical change. And I've been, really practicing on it. I've had a lot of time to practice in quarantine. So in practicing that, I have been noticing, just trust. Where and you may hear a difference. If I put all of that weight on it, for me, I don't feel like that in a hall, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't feel a difference. As long as you stay, I really feel like volume is a matter of how much air you're putting out. If you want it to be loud, you send out more air. If you want it to be quiet, you send out less air, more support.
Yeah.
Down below.
think that it was very similar to what you're talking about, the consonants and sort of the choral approach to consonants and being so much more. But as a result, it feels like you do use up a lot more air, right? And sort of the air conservation. It's really interesting because as I've mentioned to this course before, but the idea that it's really hard to tell what's going on because the way you hear your own sound, it's like through your body. It's through like the blood and the muscles and the bone and everything vibrating, but it's hard because you're dependent on other people on the outside to say, you know what, like you said, it does sound to you, maybe to you it sounds like it's not very loud, but out here the sound is really carrying further out.
Yes.
But I love what you said about the sort of the air, making the air sort of the, if you want the volume or the support, dependent on the air rather than trying to force it with your throat or trying to create heaviness with the sort of intensity with your folds, your vocal folds. But that's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's air production is so important and yet so natural. That's why I say it's hard to try to teach people how to breathe who already naturally breathe, you know. And for singing, yes, it's a lot lower because, as I said, singing words. I know sometimes when we rehearse, we'll rehearse on numbers 1 and 2 and T and 4 instead of singing the words. And I'm like, is anybody else out of breath? Because I'm always out of breath doing the numbers versus singing the words and the notes, which is so interesting. So it does take, air to get that diction very precise, but yes, Robert Shaw, because that's the person was a protege of Robert Shaw who would make us do that. But yes, definitely, if you're intentional about it, your body will set you up, your mind will set you up for that, especially if you know I need air for this line.
Yeah, and I think that's a like the great word, like the sort of your intention with it, because oftentimes we take so much of this for granted. Obviously, we're not thinking about breathing every single minute, but once
Right.
we are very intentional about the way we engage our breath and everything, I think that's yeah. Not only obviously the technical, but of course the content of the music too. But I think
Yeah.
one thing that everybody was so moved by 2 weeks ago is that like the idea is really connecting to the character and the emotion behind the music itself. And so yeah, that's great. Brandy, this is so wonderful having you here. We are so excited and privileged to have you join us for this recording because like again, it's a very I think those moments like this where we're trying to come together as a community and have a memento for these times, which are difficult, but we're still here. I think it's going to be very special. And obviously, like I mentioned several times, last 2 weeks ago, everybody was so just moved, like through the screens you could tell, but also in the comments and the emails that I received. And so thank you so much for this and for joining us. And we're excited to continue having you part of this.
Anytime.
Okay, thank you so much. We're going to go. Wait. Oh, did want to mention? Do you have upcoming projects that you are looking forward to that you might want to tell people about, or what are the next things on the horizon, even if it's like much later on in the future?
Yes, so I am getting ready to, oh, you all are so, so welcome. I hope it wasn't too accelerated for you. I hope you all got it. I'm just seeing some of the thank you in the comments. I'm getting ready to go to Vienna, Austria to sing a Porgy and Bess. I'm going to sing Clara.
Woo-hoo.
And I don't know. I'm nervous. Y'all pray for me. Because apparently their numbers are really low and they're planning on going on with everything is normal, but I am nervous and I haven't gotten a plane ticket purchased yet. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just see what happens. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm supposed to be leaving September 1st. But I guess with everything that's going on, it's so crazy. I can't even get a work visa. It's crazy. So, but I'll be there for 2 months.
Wow.
And everything else has been canceled because everything else that I had was in the States. I was going to do another Clara in Porgy and Bess with Kansas City Lyric Opera right after. I was going to go straight there from Vienna, but they canceled that. And then I was supposed to be singing the Dew Fairy and Hansel and Gretel at the Met at the Metropolitan Opera for their Christmas production. They do their Christmas shows, either Hansel and Gretel or Magic Flute. But they canceled all of the fall season, so I won't be back there until January. I'm going to sing Frasquita and Carmen.
Oh, wonderful.
And after that, I'm also doing in January an African American Requiem, which will be with Portland Symphony. It's going to be really, really amazing. A friend of mine composed this while we were doing a Porgy and Bess with Seattle Opera. And he asked me, you know, what are your favorite Bible texts? Because he wanted to write the piece specifically for me. It's for chorus, orchestra, and soprano, mezzo, tenor, and bass soloists. And it's basically pieces based on the last words of fallen brothers and sisters to police brutality. So like the tenor aria is I Can't Breathe through the whole piece. I mean, it's a really, really powerful work. And I think they're going to actually live stream it in January. So I'll keep you all informed about when it happens. And I think it's going to probably be broadcast live on the radio though. Okay. So, but
wonderful. It sounds like things hopefully we get through this sooner than later, but safe travels, of course.
Thank you.
Keeping track of all the wonderful projects you're involved in. So
thank you. Thanks. I appreciate the support.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go off sectionals now. So Christian is going to do that magic button thing where we sort of get separated off, but we will see you all back again, of course, in the big room. So I realized last week that I completely forgot the time that we were finishing. So even though we were slated to go to 8:30, I lost most of you. Oh, there you are. Okay, I don't know if you could hear me, but I was just saying that my internet connection dropped for a quick second on one of those plugs. But I was mentioning that last week I took us to 9 o'clock because I forgot what time rehearsal ended. I didn't realize that these rehearsals started at 8:30, ends at 8:30. And it still felt like a short time last week. I think I'm used to longer times, but it's still, you know, even with the many elements, it feels a little bit like it could go on. I think it's just because I wanted to go on so much so. So this is sort of our last thing to do together, of course, for these summer sessions through the Brahms as well as the Tippett. And so we're going to take a little bit of time to sing through with recording the two movements, Steal Away and Deep River. But of course, I just wanted to say that, you know, it just, even though we are not physically present, it definitely feels like I can feel all of your presence here because you can see your faces, and I can see your faces much closer than I normally do, if I were to be honest, right? And so it's like, oh, that's great. Are those new glasses? You know, and so it's just a wonderful time to be able to do this. Of course, BCCO is looking forward to the fall, where we're going to obviously discuss how we're going to approach the fall, but we'd love to see you all there and and continue, even though we're in a race for a vaccine and getting back to normalcy. But also that in the next few weeks or whatnot, very, very soon actually, BCCO will give instructions on how to create these recordings, very much like that Verum Corpus, and have some visual element as well as audio, and have Brandy join us too. So I'm really looking forward to that. So we're going to have Christian lead us through Deep River and Steal Away. I don't know which order we're going to do first, but I guess we're going to do Steal Away maybe first. But and then I'll come back with some final, very quick thoughts too. But let's have, Steal Away first. That's beautiful. And then, of course, Deep River. I was mentioning to the sopranos and altos in our sectional how even though that last section feels, is written to be a concluding chord in the key, right? It's C sharp minor. It doesn't feel settled. It feels like there's more that continues. And we know, of course, that BCCO will continue in the fall. And I look forward, of course, to seeing you all there. I also want to thank, of course, Julia and Paul and Brandy and Melanie and, Eric and Ellen and all those that have joined us for the summer, as well as the members of different choruses that have joined us. Jerry tells me that we have a few from many different choruses choruses all over the area, and so you're welcome. In the past, we have been limited in terms of physical space. And apparently, I think our license with Zoom is for 500. So feel free, tell people and have them join in. You're all welcome to join us, of course, as we explore some of these great pieces of music in depth, and of course, try to really find out what about them makes them special. And of course, I want to thank Christian, especially, and Lisa for all the technical aspects, and the board for all the support for these things, because I think that the key for all of us has always been, I think David Flack actually sent this really fantastic email that was like, what are our real goals? Our goals are to maintain community, to try to create something that feels like we're working towards something, and to really feel like we are continuing to develop as artists and musicians, because every single one of us obviously has an artistic voice, and we want it to grow. We want it to grow in tandem and in community with everybody. And so I think it's been really special to be part of an organization that really pushes that forward. And of course, to have people like Christian that knows Zoom inside and out and makes everything just seem so easy is great too. So when you see them on Zoom or other things, please thank them again. So, there are a lot of other events. I think Jerry has been sending out some ideas of other choruses and their virtual events. This is a wonderful time where we can experience a lot of different organizations and participate in a lot of different music making, even though it's a distance. I myself have some projects I would love for you to come to. Some of them, I have the music directors from every single major North American ballet company that are going to be diving into the classics and to what makes them special. Like, did you know that in Sleeping Beauty, one of the fairy variations is based off of lightning, and the choreography is supposed to be lightning emanating from her fingertips, and the orchestra is supposed to play like that. Half the dancers don't even know that, but of course, these great people from New York City Ballet, Houston Ballet, the National Ballet of Canada, San Francisco Ballet, of course. Where else? ABT. How can I forget ABT? They're all joining us. So please join us for all of those and all the other organizations that are doing things. And of course, BCCO in the fall when we come back together. And so with that, we will say have a wonderful, is it summer? I can't tell what day of the week it is, let alone what season or month it is. But I hope you have a wonderful time between now and when we meet again next, and that music continues between those times. And of course, when we can continue together virtually and also in person. So let's do our normal BCCO thing and unmute everybody and say goodbye. And
bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Ming and everybody. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Happy Thursday.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
No more sessions.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Join us tomorrow.
Bye.
Lovely.
Hi, Ella.
Night.
So great to see you all.
Hi, Lisa.
Yes. Everybody.
Bye.
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 Miss you all.
Keep singing. Keep singing.
Yeah, stay with
Bye-bye.
Miss you all.
Bye, everybody. I miss you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.